We're going to take the North and never give it back.
So that's a good pick. You get the corner. I got to go bold, right? I got to go bold for this.
Yeah, she's got some nice.
Welcome back to the Unbearable Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Brad. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're out there on YouTube, and also rate the show 5 stars everywhere that you get your podcast. What is going on, Bears fans? Today we are going to be breaking down the Chicago Bears versus the Baltimore Ravens. Now, the Baltimore Ravens might just be 1-5, but our Chicago Bears are going to have one of the toughest tests yet if Lamar Jackson is back out there. So we'll talk about everything that we know so far based on the injuries, and also what to expect even with Lamar Jackson or without Lamar Jackson when they're going in there. But what's good? We got Shy Drax, we got Taco Man. Bear down to you both, my friends. Hope everything is going well. So let's go through this. So normally I would always go through like the all 22 and talk about all those pieces first. But to be honest with y'all, yesterday or Monday was one of my daughter's birthdays, and Tuesday we all had the stomach flu. So I've been recovering with a lot of Gatorade and water. So it's been fun for anyone with kids. And when you all get sick, man, it is brutal. But hey, we're still able to go through it, and we're going to be previewing this because I said Wednesday, and man, we're going to be previewing this Wednesday show. And Taco Man saying incoming 5 streak. And yeah, Drex, it was brutal, man. For anyone with kids, it's like when you get sick, it's bad, but when you have all your other kids sick as well. I have 4 kids, and it's like, man, it was crazy. I was at least able to take off of work, which was great. So, but it was just, yeah, the off of work was just naps, Gatorade, and man, that's it. So yeah, today the kids actually went back to school totally fine. It's just my wife and I, we're the only two that were like, oh man, we're still somewhat feeling it a little bit, as you can tell from that right there. But let's go through this. Let's talk a little bit about this game. And let's start out with the injury impact and talk about the injury report that the Chicago Bears have out there. So this kind of took some people off guard when they first saw this. Roschon Johnson did not participate. Cole Kmet did not participate. DJ Moore did not participate. Tyreek Stevenson did not participate. And DeAndre Swift did not participate. So if you're curious about who actually was, so Braxton Jones, Grady Jarrett, Cairo Santos, and Deshaun Wright all limited. And then Austin Booker, Amen Ogbongbemiga, all full. So when you're looking at this, the big ones to just keep an eye out for is it's going to be the running back position. So first off, DeAndre Swift, he's been banged up before. Still would be shocked if he ends up sitting out. But Tyreek Stevenson and Cole Kmet are the next two, because Cole Kmet, yes, I know that there's a lot of Colson Lovelands out there. But with that, it's like still having the 2 tight end sets and having a tight end like Cole Kmet still is very, very helpful. So if Cole's not able to go, I'm expecting them to run a lot of 11 personnel. So you have Loveland out there even more, and then you also have your wide receivers. You have Luther Burden could play a little bit more, and you at least have enough weapons where you can change things around a little bit. So I'm not super. I'd like Cole out there, but they at least have the flexibility with their playmakers. But then, yeah, DJ Moore did not participate. I'm done guessing when DJ plays and when he doesn't, because he always seems to be banged up and he always seemingly plays. But I think that the key one is going to be Tyreek Stevenson. Tyreek Stevenson has had a great season this year. He's been a phenomenal corner. He had one bad game, then everything else has been good, solid games out of Tyreek Stevenson. He's going to be the one to watch out for with that shoulder injury. So, yeah, and like what Taco Man's saying down in the comments too, this is a thin cornerback room, as we saw. And when we got Kyler Gordon back, instantly you saw this defense just transform. Now, Kyler also gives you a lot of run defense. Tyreek can also tackle pretty well as well. But yeah, if you're able to have those players out there, then Deshaun Wright, you can cover up some of his inefficiencies out there. So Tyreek is going to be the big one to watch out for, because I still feel like DeAndre Swift, I know he's been banged up. DJ Moore's been banged up. Roshan, more of a special teams player, but Swift and Moore generally get back. And Cole does not miss games, but even if he does, shouldn't be that big of a loss. So, and I agree with Rod, Josh Blackwell. I don't know why they don't put Blackwell out there more. Like I don't know what it is, but instead they like McLeod a little bit more than Blackwell from a coverage perspective. So I always liked Blackwell, but seems like McLeod would be the guy if he ends up not being able to go. So let's flip over then to the Ravens side of things. And when we go over to the Ravens side, Ronnie Stanley, full participant. Roquan Smith is going to be back after only making it from weeks 1 to 4. And then after that, we have Devontae Walker. He's going to be back out there as well. And then Marlon Humphrey did not participate due to an illness. We'll see if he ends up coming back, or we'll see if he has the same bug that I had, and then he's able to come back the next day or in 2 days or so. But the big one that everyone's watching out for is Lamar Jackson. So Lamar Jackson, he is out with his hamstring injury. Now, there's a lot of mixed reviews today, you could say. And the big reason is because it was reported from Dan Graziano that he said today, I had a couple of conversations with people familiar with this situation that led me to believe Jackson might miss another game while recovering from the injury. Now, a hamstring injury, the thing that we consistently hear about a hamstring injury is that it does take time to get back from it. And also it could be a little bit finicky and can get re-aggravated very easily. So me as a Bears fan, I say, let him rest, right? Let him sit out there. So that's what I would like. But obviously, when that comes out, guess what Lamar Jackson's doing? Lamar Jackson is out there practicing. And that's where people are like, wait a second, what was going on? And then also there's like the video from the night before where he looks baked out of his mind ordering food. So to me, the big thing is watch out for Lamar Jackson. I think we all know that, but it is the storyline. Lamar Jackson out there is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. When Lamar has been out there, he's been number 5 in the NFL with QBR and number 6 in EPA per dropback. He's really good. And this was a team that a lot of people were predicting to be a Super Bowl champion and win over the Kansas City Chiefs and finally take the throne over the AFC. But unfortunately, we just have not seen that. And a lot of that is because Lamar Jackson's been injured. Now, Lamar Jackson, even when he was healthy, they still had a losing record too. And that's worth noting. And a big reason for that was actually the defense. So let's get into this, though, a little bit more. And also, Ron, what's good? Bear down to you, too. And also, and hot take from Taco Man saying he was faking an injury. Huh. Yeah, or, for who was faking the injury? Who are you saying? Lamar? I just want to verify because I see you talking Cole and everything. So are you talking about Lamar? But let's talk a little bit more about the Bears offense preview. Oh yeah, so Taco Man saying Lamar with the fake injury. I mean, they were losing bad. And the big reason, right? The big reason that would lead you to those thoughts as well is that this defense has been really bad on their side. So let me flip this over. When we look at their defense and we look at just their overall defense, this defense has not been good. And the defense for this team has, when I look at the metrics, their points added is 29th. They're 30th ranked against the pass when, according to Football Reference, expected points added. And then also 25th against the run for expected points and 30th in pressure rate as well. And they also traded away Odafe Owe, which arguably was their best defensive end on the roster. So now, this team still has some really big names out there. Kyle Hamilton is PFF's number 1 rated safety. Nate Wiggins has been a good corner. Simpson has been a good linebacker. Roquan Smith is coming back as well. You have all these good players, but for some reason, they're not having it click. Now, Madubuike their big defensive tackle ended up getting knocked out for the season. And also Marlon Humphrey, for some reason, he just has not looked the same. People are blaming it because he's on social media way too much. And he just tweeted something out about like eating hot dogs in 30 different states or something. And people are not taking too kindly to that because he is currently ranked 106 out of 110 cornerbacks when it comes down to coverage grade. He just has not played well. He has not looked like the same defensive back out there. Just looked awful. So the other piece too is, so you have all these you have these big names. They're just not playing well. And Mike Green, someone that I really liked out of the draft process, but fell due to personal reasons, off the field reasons, he has not looked good. I'm actually quite surprised with that because he looked really, really good coming out of college, looked really good in the preseason as well. Maybe it's because he's the only kind of edge rusher that's out there. But when you have Mike Green and Kyle Van Noy as your edge rushers, they just have not been able to generate a lot of pressure. And up the middle, they have a slew of former Bears defensive tackles in John Jenkins and, yes, Brent Urban. The guy that we have the award for, he's still around at the ripe old age of 34, and he's one of their starting defensive tackles, believe it or not. So that's something where this line is very weak. Travis Jones, their defensive tackle, is not having as great of a season as he normally has, and probably a lot of it is because Madubuike is not next to him. So now he's being asked to shoulder a lot of that load. So this line is not doing so great. And J2K, what's good? Bear down, saying that defense must be bad if Urban is a starter. And I think that's all you got to know right there is, all due respect for Brent Urban. We have an award named after you for this show. But that's the thing, is that he was the award, the Brent Urban Award is for a good backup that shows flashes of plays. But that was also back in 2018. That was 7 years ago. That was when he was 27 years old, not 34 years old. So this line is very weak. They have good linebackers. They have good defensive backs. Alohi Gilman and Starks has not played as great as I think a lot of people thought. Malachi Starks out of Georgia, the rookie. But still, they have a lot of talent. They just haven't been able to put it together yet. So to me, when I'm looking at this team, you should be able to attack it in the air. This reminds me a lot of the Saints defense, honestly, when you look at just pure numbers. This defense has let up so many points, multi 30-point games. Here, I'll pull this up. Just because if we're looking at this game, we should be able to run it on the ground. We should be able to really attack it there, but also in the air. Now, we said this about the Saints. The Saints do not have a good passing defense, but we still weren't even able to get past 200 yards. So to me, Caleb needs a big game, especially if Lamar's out there. You're going to have to go toe-to-toe against Lamar Jackson. So because of that, you're going to have to put up points. Because when I'm looking at some of these games, they lost to the Bills 41-40. They still put up 40 points, right? It was the defense that gave up 41 points. Then against the Lions, they put up 30 points. And the Lions, the Lions ended up putting 38 on them. And then the Chiefs, the Ravens were able to put up 20 points. That was when Lamar Jackson went out. I think that was, or no, I don't think, let me double check. That was when Lamar Jackson went out. So they were able to put up 20 points. Then Lamar went out, but the Kansas City Chiefs were able to put up 37 points. So what I'm getting at is you can't just, you need to get a 30 burger. You need to get a 40 burger. You need to get these large point games, which the Bears have only done once. So yes, we've been very, very consistent with putting up 20 points or so, but we're going to need to put up more if we're going to expect to do anything. So we can't be making these mistakes. We have to run up the score. We have to do that when you're going against this team. So that's where, to me, that's my feeling. And like what Drax is saying, how can they keep the penalties down? That is going to be the key of this game, is keeping the penalties down, because that is what has been causing this Bears team to shoot themselves in the foot. So if they can keep the penalties down and they can finally capitalize and just not make dumb mistakes, this should be a win. Even with Lamar Jackson out there, they should be able to win as long as they just don't make these dumb mistakes. Now, on the flip side, they have been making these dumb mistakes week in, week out. Even when they put up 30 points against Dallas, they were still making bad mistakes. Yeah, and that's the thing. Taco Man, exactly. We just have to pay the refs more money. Actually, I should have grabbed this clip there's a clip going around from TJ Lang, former Packer, and he admits it. He says, yeah, when he looks at it, the Packers had got the calls from the refs. And he talked about it saying, like, one of the things that Mike McCarthy stressed to them was get to know the refs. And like before the games, they would talk to the refs. And he's like, yeah, they wouldn't call penalties. And he said, he's like, he got like one holding call in 3 years, his last 3 years for the Packers. And then he spends like 1 year at, in Detroit and gets 3 holding calls that 1 year. And he's like, I didn't change the way I blocked. He just changed who he blocked for. And rightfully so, right? It's some of that. Like, you do need to be nice to the refs. You do need, like, they are people at the end of the day. But man, yeah, they need to talk to the refs before the game. That's what they need to do. They need to buy them like a nice, I don't know, give them like, I don't know, what does everyone likes, beef jerky. Yeah, just hand out some beef jerky before the game. Just be like, here you go. Slide them some beef jerky. They'll be fine. That'll be fine. So, but that is the biggest thing, is they need to clean up some of those clean up the dumb penalties that you can control. Like, at the end of the day, clean up what you can control, and that is going to be the biggest thing. And also too, don't make there's just a lot of dumb plays that are out there. Missed throws from Caleb, like I've said, that just need to be cleaned up. Now, the running game, it is going, and Swift is looking great. The other thing that does get me a little bit nervous, I just want to throw this stat out there, that Swift, outside of the tackles, has the 6th highest EPA per rush. Phenomenal. And we all knew this. Like, even before the Swift breakout stuff, I was pointing to the stats that showed, like, Swift, when he's going outside the tackles, is one of the best. He's very good when he has to be outside the tackles. He's a positive runner outside. When he's asked to go inside, not so much. But he is the worst running back when it comes down to EPA per rush at negative 1.9. I believe the next closest was like negative 1.4 when inside the tackles. So that's a huge difference when you're talking about a top 10 EPA rusher outside the tackles and literally the worst, according to EPA, inside the tackles. So that is something that people can key in on. And other people that, watch this game and get paid millions of dollars for their role probably can easily pick up on. You need to trap him on the outsides and force him inside, because that's how they get him. That's how they get him ultimately. So to me, the running game is going. Let's have it keep on going. But I'm really, for this game, I'm looking at Caleb. Caleb needs to step up. The running game has stepped up for the past 2 games. Now Caleb needs to. Now, something that needs to be said too is part of it, Theo Benedett. Theo Benedett has not been good. He is PFF's 72nd out of 77 ranked tackle, which is kind of crazy to think, because it's like, well, why is the running game working so well? Why is everything else working so well? And really the reason is because Tooney and Dahlman have been unbelievable. Like, they have been so good. And maybe it was, yet again, they have to operate as a unit. Maybe they didn't like operating as a unit with Braxton Jones. And Benedett just simply plays the role. He's just a body that just allows Tooney and Dahlman to be awesome. But yeah, Benedett really has not been a good tackle. But the rest of the line has been great. So I'll take that. I'll take the rest of that to be great. So, and like J2K said, the duo blocks are far better. Yeah, like they're able to take on 2, go out in the front and do great. And 2, then you have Darnell Wright, who's been phenomenal. And like he had the one bad game, but that was partially because his arm was, half broken type of deal. And even with his brace, he's still a very good, very good blocker. And I think if you're looking at a positive, you have 3 really, really good linemen, and Tooney and Dahlman are beasts. So to me, that's great right there. You guys we have the long-term answers right there. Darnell Wright looks like the long-term at right tackle. Jackson still, I hate the contract that we gave him. Like, what, $16 million? It's just, he's just a very average guard, just a very meh guard. And he's had some good games. He's had some bad games. He's just a guard. That's the only thing that I just got to say about him. But man, we got 3 great ones. We have 3 great ones on this line for sure. So to me, it's going to come down to Caleb. Can Caleb make plays? Can Caleb look like how he was at before the bye rather than after the bye? Because now let's try and get things started. Let's try to go get things going in Baltimore. We can't be making those bad plays. Let's get that accuracy up, right? Get that net up and just try to hit throws. Like, that's what you need. You just need to make the easy throws count. So if we're going through this and we're talking about what is the offensive matchup that I'm looking out for, the matchup that I'm looking out for, because, if I'm looking at the line, right, I don't think that there's really a matchup to watch out for when it comes to the line, just because, like I said, Mike Green has not been doing great. Maybe he can take advantage of a Theo Benedette just because of his bendiness and quickness. But just looking at what should be it, I'm going to go Rome versus Marlon Humphrey. And the reason is because Humphrey has not looked good. Humphrey is also a bigger corner, stronger corner. And since you have their leaders coming back, your Roquan Smiths, Roquan Smith, and also potentially Lamar Jackson, maybe he gets his head out of his butt and actually starts playing. That to me is going to be the biggest matchup, because throw it to the person that you know is going to get open, that you know is going to play, and that you have a good chemistry with. So throw it that way. That's going to be my matchup to watch out for, but I don't really think that there's really matchups. It's more of Caleb. You got to play. That's my X factor. That is everything. It's going to come down to Caleb's accuracy. That to me is going to be the biggest piece to look out for. Also, I'd love to see just more Monungai, right? Have more of that true split, just because Monungai, when we're talking about outside versus inside, he can be that battering ram, be that person that just tires them out a little bit, imposes his will on the other players as well. But yeah, I really do think that this matches up very well for our line, and I think that we should be able to do it. Just don't mess up Caleb. So now next, let's talk about the Bears defense versus this offense. And like we were talking about, like we were previewing, this offense is pretty darn good that we're going to be going against if Lamar Jackson is their quarterback. Because if Lamar Jackson's out there, this is a pretty darn good team. Like I said, a top 5 quarterback in QBR, number 6 in EPA per dropback. And also too, when running the football, they have 3.2 yards before contact just for their running backs. So they're good. They're a good team. Now, this offensive line isn't crazy good, I would say. It's still a good line. You have Tyler Lindenbaum, who's arguably one of the best, if not the best center in the NFL. Ronnie Staley, who has been knocked down a little bit just after his knee injury, but still a very, very good left tackle. And Roger Rosengarten, who to me is a good pass blocking right tackle, who, when you look at this, both Rosengarten and Stanley are top 10 in ESPN's pass block win rate. So on the outsides, they're going to match up very well against our defensive ends. Good thing our defensive ends don't really get much pressure. We have to blitz. We have to get pressure up the middle from Javon Dexter. And that's where in the middle, they're a little bit weaker. So Voorhees and Falele, their guards, even though Falele is 380 pounds, not the best pass protectors. So if we're looking to get some pressure, it's going to be up the middle or by sending a blitz of some sort in order to try to get them out. So also when you look on the outside and you look at their receivers, Zay Flowers, very good wide receiver. Many people that have fantasy numbers know Flowers is the man. Bateman has had kind of a down year this year. He's 107th out of 127 receivers, according to PFF, but still a good receiver nonetheless. And last but not least, DeAndre Hopkins not getting the most reps out there at the outside receiver, but kind of reminds me of almost like Keenan Allen, but just knocked down a couple pegs, where Keenan Allen was a good receiver, like a reliable receiver for us last year. That's what it seems like Hopkins is. He's just a very reliable receiver, but that's about it. Like, he'll still make you pay, but he's not the DeAndre Hopkins of old. And Mark Andrews, still solid, like he's an older tight end, but still a solid tight end nonetheless. So they still have weapons when trying to pass the ball. So when you flip over to our defense, that is where it is big time to make sure that Tyreek Stevenson is out there, because Gordon in the slot versus Zay Flowers, he's going to have his hands full again. Gordon performed very well, I felt, against Olave. They had to kind of shift him to the outside. But that's where, too, having Stevenson will be very, very helpful, because it just kind of locks down another spot on that side of the field. And yet again, like I was kind of joking about, when it comes down to the defensive line, I feel like we're going to be able to get some pressure up the middle with Javon Dexter, who quietly has been very, very good at least rushing the passer. Run defense, still have not seen as great as he kind of was last year, but his pass rushing has been a lot better. But I think overall, like, if it's Cooper Rush, I feel very confident, right? But the thing that I think that the Bears need to continue to do what this new defense is, right? Don't let the foot off the gas. Keep the blitzes coming. When you are sending Brisker, when you're sending Gordon, those are some of the best pass rushers that you have on this team. So why not send them? And I think, too, if you're sending them as well, then it puts the pressure on them to not have Derrick Henry out there. Derrick Henry is not a great pass protector. So instead, they have to put in Justice Hill. And then when Hill's out there, then Henry's not out there. So why not keep the pressure on the outsides to put the pressure on running backs picking up the blitz? So to me, that is something that I think that Dennis Allen should really try and push, because still, Derrick Henry is still a freak of nature. And this is going to be a big time test for them to really kind of put up or shut up with this run defense. This run defense has been good for 2 consecutive weeks. And like I mentioned before, when coming down to the Saints weren't the greatest running team of all time, but the Bears held them to a whole yard and a half less than what they were averaging. So to me, that's where it's big time. That's where, like, if the Bears want to show, they can do this against them. So that is going to be my big thing to watch out for, is trying to stop this running attack, because it's tough. It's rough. And so to me, send the blitz, try and stop them behind the line of scrimmage. That is how I feel like you're going to have to get to them, because also, too, Lamar with that bad hamstring, if he's out there, get him running, right? You don't want him comfortable in the pocket. You want to try and force him out. You want to try and get him running. That is the feeling that that is what I want to see with them, and how I want them to attack. So let's talk a little bit about this defensive matchup to watch out for and what I would love to see. And to me, the matchup, I'm going to go at it again. I was going to say Gordon versus Zay Flowers. I feel like that was going to be the big one, but I'm going to go different. Because I did Gordon last week versus Olave. I'm going to go Brisker versus Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is a man. Derrick Henry is a ferocious runner. And to me, if Brisker can come down, whether it's, like I was saying, whether it's in a blitz, whether it's trying to blow up the play, Brisker's been very, very good in run defense. So to me, that is going to be the matchup that I'm looking out for, is Brisker versus Derrick Henry. And also, I agree, Drax. Everyone hit that like button just to make sure, just to help out the show tremendously. Ron, what's good out there? Bear down to you, my friend. But let's kind of talk about this. So now let's talk about, let me flip this over to the special teams review. And as we've been talking about this Bears special teams, the special teams has been good for last week, right? Yeah, Travis Homer come back, and jokingly, I said that he's the greatest special teamer of all time. But they ended up being able to protect special teams pretty darn well. Let's see if they can do it again. And also, if Jake Moody's out there, the man's been pretty darn good. So hopefully that can continue out inside of Baltimore. So that's what the overall hope is. Nothing else really to talk too much about the whole special teams piece. But really, just to me, it's going to come down to just stopping kick returns, stopping punt returns, and not shooting ourselves in the foot. So now, let's talk about who has the edge. Because let's talk about this Bears offense. So if we're talking about this Bears offense with who has the edge, Bears running attack or this run defense for the Ravens? Well, this Ravens defense, if you look at the numbers, like I said, it's 25th expected points according to they're 25th in expected points according to Football Reference. But when you look at it more, they give up 4.7 yards just to running backs. 4.3 is to quarterbacks, but 4.7 yards to running backs. Let's run it. The advantage bears on that. And then you get into the passing attack, where I'm going to give this to the Bears as well. Don't make me regret that, Caleb Williams, because Caleb has had 2 bad games. He needs to wake up. He needs to play better. And right now, the running game is really covering up. The running game's looking great. If we had the running game that we had in weeks 1 through 4, I feel like we'd have some different storylines going out there. And like I said before, too, Caleb was the one that was really holding this team in weeks 1 through 4. And that's why, you got to give him some, give him some, give him some flowers with some of this, but also give him some criticism when he's not looking as good as he was before. So to me, Caleb, this is going to be big, but I'm giving it both to the Bears offense. And now when we talk about who has the edge for the defense, the Bears defense versus this offense, the passing attack, I think this is the big piece is if Lamar is not out there, advantage Bears. Just that's all you got to know. Advantage Bears. But I think if Lamar is out there, I'm going to give their passing attack the advantage. I know that there's turnovers and stuff like that. I just still feel like Lamar passing the ball would give them the advantage. Now, running attack, call me crazy, but I would give it to the Bears. It's crazy to say that against King Henry, but right now I'm feeling a lot of confidence with Dennis Allen. The way Dennis Allen has been scheming up for these, stopping the run, the way that the Bears are crazy to try and stop the run, I really like their chances of doing that. I really do believe that if they were that without Lamar, it's an easy Bears dub. I really do mean that because I think that this Bears team is playing with a lot of fight. Like I said, they were able to overcome a trap. They were already able to overcome a trap game. Now you're going to Baltimore to go against the freaking Ravens, and now you got to win. Now you got to kind of keep on showing that. So to me, I have a lot of faith in the Bears if Lamar is not out there. So let's get into the game predictions. So let's see. Give me your game predictions. And as we always do, as is tradition, what is your score predictions and one bold prediction? So we got Taco Man saying 37-27 Bears bold, 26-27 Bears regular. So we got some Bears wins out there. But yeah, let me know your bold prediction because like I was saying, where was this Brad last week? Hey, I haven't given my prediction yet. I could still do what I did last week. But I will say, right? This Bears prediction, with this team, we need to put up a lot of points. And I said that at the very start of the show. Because, hey, if Cooper Rush is out there, we can get away with putting up 10 points. Because it was 44 points from the Texans and and then it was 44-10 when they win against the Texans. And I want to call it out because the Texans do not have a great offense, and they were able to put up crazy numbers. Now, there was no Roquan Smith out there, but still, even when Roquan Smith was out there, the Chiefs were able to put up 37. The Lions were able to put up 38. The Browns put up 17, but they're the Browns. And the Bills were able to put up 41. So really good offenses were able to put up close to 40 points. But yet again, keep in mind, they had to score that in order to win. Bears only put up 31 points against Dallas, and in other games that they had multiple turnovers, failed to do so. That is my biggest fear going into this game, is that the Bears have time and time again not put their, they haven't done the kill shot. They haven't done anything like that. There's always that feeling that there could have been more. Also, too, just for throwing that out there, too, last week against the Rams, it was 17-3. Rams end up winning. Gross game right there. We'll say gross game. But yeah, only 3 points. Yet again, the quarterback situation was a mess. So with Lamar, without Lamar, I would say, honestly, I kind of side with what J2K has, where, I literally think that this game could be 31-10, 31-10 Bears. Just because I think that without Lamar, I think that it's just going to be crazy. Yeah, shots, everyone. I said gross, so shots, drinks all around. But yeah, I think that without Lamar, this team is going to go crazy. I think that they should be able to dominate. They should be able to win. With Lamar, I think the Bears lose. And you guys could chat, you can boo me. Chat, you can boo me. I feel like if Lamar is back, they're going to be playing with a vengeance. They're going to be playing to win a game because it's 1-5. And I think that they're getting their captain back in Roquan. They're getting their captain back with Lamar. I'm getting boos in the chat. Thank you. Hey, last time I predicted the Saints and it happened again. Okay. So if this happens, y'all can thank me. If the Bears win, y'all can thank me. So yet again, it's another one of those things. I will say, prove me wrong, Bears. Prove me wrong, right? Show me that you can go out there and put the kill shot on them and really stomp on them and do that. To me, that's what I want to see. I want to see the Bears do that. And right now, I'm going to say 31-27 Bears. 31-27 Ravens. I'll give it that. So, yeah, it's right. I need to see it. I want to see this one. This is a Super Bowl, like the Ravens are a Super Bowl caliber team with Lamar when he's out there. And that's where I'm just a little bit nervous. Without Lamar, it's Bears all day. I do have money on the Bears plus 6.5 and Bears money line. So don't worry about that. I have that as well. That's what I have out there. So I do actually have my own money riding on it for the Bears to win. Because I do think that, yet again. So that's my feeling. But yeah, this is going to be a big game. And as you know, win or lose, we'll have you covered, though, on the show. So make sure to like and subscribe out there on YouTube. Download the podcast everywhere you get your podcast. Just search for Unbearable Sports. We'll be live after the game at 7:30 Central Time on Sunday to break down the win or loss. And, man, if the Bears win, let me hear the boo birds. You guys can hiss because, hey, the Bears would have an even better record, 5-2. Let's go for 5-2, Bears. And with that, Unbearable Sports Podcast, we are out.
Yeah, she's got some nice long hair and you know